sunny morning. A young boy walks through a garden, relishing the feelings of childhood, but suddenly it all ends. It was just a dream. Andre hears his wife's voice and, opening his eyes, returns to reality. Later, he talks with his children, suggesting they go fishing over the weekend, but everyone already has plans. Andre drives to work, calling his boss on the way. His boss advises him to try fitting in with the team, otherwise he might lose his job. In his office, Andre finds Valera from the IT department, who has brought documents related to an upcoming deal with Chinese partners. Andre learns that he won't be going on the business trip alone. Frustrated, Andre rushes to the elevator, where he encounters an unfamiliar man who enters the boss's office ahead of him. Sergey has come for a job interview because his previous company offered no prospects for career growth. The director sets a condition. Sergey must join the important negotiations with the Chinese partners. If he performs well, he'll get the position of department head. After Sergey leaves, Valera enters the office. He too is going to the negotiations and is also vying for the department head position. The director explains that Valera is an excellent programmer but lacks negotiation skills. Moreover, his indecisiveness makes him unsuitable for leadership. With no friends or girlfriend, Valera is better off staying in his current role. Andre is the third to meet with the director. He is informed that Sergey, Valera, and Abroskin will also be attending the negotiations. Unlike his colleagues, Andre doesn't argue with management. He too is promised a promotion if he performs well. The four men arrive at the designated city and take the Chinese partners to a restaurant. After some drinking, they successfully conclude the deal. Andre calls the director to report the success and promises to bring the documents back the next day. As the Chinese partners depart, the men are left to decide how to return home. The problem is that everyone has been drinking and cannot drive. Andre drank the least, so Sergey suggests he take a walk while the others continue celebrating. Eventually, everyone piles into Andre's car, with Abroskin falling asleep on Valera's shoulder. As the car leaves the city, it suddenly stops. Strangely enough, they've run out of fuel. Sergey angrily blames Andre for failing to check the tank, but they need to solve the problem. Spotting a passing car, they try to flag it down, but it speeds past them. The men wake Abroskin, put him behind the wheel, and push the car to the roadside. They then take out their phones but find there's no signal. Sergey suggests they look for a gas station. Leaving Abroskin asleep in the car, the three head down the highway. Eventually, they find a gas station. However, the attendant demands either a vehicle or a container for the fuel, neither of which they have. Valera asks for directions to the nearest store, and the men head there. On the way, they encounter locals who immediately recognize them as outsiders and give them odd looks. Meanwhile, Abroskin, still asleep, accidentally releases the handbrake and the car rolls onto the road. The men reach the store and find a 5-liter water bottle suitable for their needs, but they can't pay with a card and none of them have cash. Valera remembers seeing an ATM at the entrance, so they head there. However, the ATM doesn't respond to their cards and even retains Valera's card. Andre grows anxious because his wife is waiting for him. Sergey advises him to forget about her for now and proposes theft. After much debate, they agree. While Sergey distracts the cashier, Andre will steal the bottle. The men return to the store. Sergey strikes up a conversation with the cashier while Andre sneaks out the bottle and hands it to Valera, who quietly exits the store. But as Andre attempts to follow, he accidentally makes noise. The cashier calls for security, forcing Andre to improvise, claiming he found expired products on the shelf. Stunned, the cashier and guard chalk it up to the outsider's strangeness. The men flee, laughing at their mischief. Later, they use the water bottle to get fuel and head back to the gas station, reminiscing about their childhood along the way. At the station, however, they again can't pay with cards. Andre pleads with the attendant, who offers a deal. They can refuel in exchange for cleaning the premises and hanging banners for the town's festival. Sergey loses his temper, declaring that the place outright hates them. However, the gas station owner remains steadfast. They must help, and afterward, they'll all go together to watch the parade. Sergey explodes in frustration, insulting the attendant, who retreats into the building. Suddenly, Valera has an epiphany. None of this is real. It seems their boss orchestrated this entire ordeal to test their professional qualities. The men hang banners and decorate the area before heading to the car where Sergey had left his cash. But when they reach the spot, they freeze in horror. The car is completely wrecked and Abroskin is nowhere to be found. Sergey retrieves his wallet while Valera tries to calm Andre, who is distraught over the irreparable state of the vehicle. After some heated debates, they decide to find some other form of transportation to get home. Andre walks ahead, and when a bus arrives, he boards it. Unexpectedly, the driver shuts the doors and drives off, ignoring Andre's pleas to wait for his friends. Even when Andre demands to be let off, the driver refuses, leaving him bewildered. What is going on in this town? Meanwhile, Valera shares with Sergey the story of his failed love life. Sergei gives him a heart-shaped stone he had picked up earlier, promising that things will get better for him. Just then, another bus arrives, and the two men board it. Andre, on the other hand, gets off at the next stop and soon sees his colleagues passing by in their bus. However, they don't seem to notice him and instead ask the driver to stop somewhere they can charge their phones. The driver pulls up near a nightclub. At the same time, Andre goes to the police station, but no one there seems interested in helping him. He tries asking questions, but the officers act oddly. Eventually, he finds a major who asks him to file a report and describe everything that happened. Meanwhile, his colleagues are at the nightclub. Sergei notices Valera eyeing a beautiful girl and encourages him to approach her. Valera hesitates, so Sergei suggests he tell her he made a bet with him to dance with her, thus making any awkwardness Sergei's fault. Back at the police station, a boy sitting next to Andre admits he only wanted to take a motorcycle for a ride and had no intention of stealing it, but now he's stuck there. The major, having reviewed Andre's report, scolds him, pointing out that they are to blame for their troubles. They didn't refuel in time and abandoned their car on the road. Unexpectedly, the major asks for Andre's help. He leads him deeper into the station, and suddenly they find themselves on a stage with musical instruments. The major takes his place at the drums, his assistant grabs a guitar, and they invite Andre to join their band. Meanwhile, Sergei watches as Valera successfully strikes up a conversation with the girl he likes, whose name is Alyssa. This moment triggers a memory from Sergei's childhood. A sunny day and a girl he played hide-and-seek with among hanging laundry. Needing a break, Sergei steps outside for a smoke, but realizes he doesn't have any cigarettes. He asks a local guy for one, but just then a car speeds into the square and its passengers fire shots into the air. The local nonchalantly explains it's a Caucasian wedding and leaves, still not giving Sergei a lighter. Sergei is left standing, unsure of what to do next, when Alyssa steps outside. She wants to know if Valera's story about the bet is true. Sergei confirms it and the girl starts flirting with him. Unable to hold back, Sergei vents about how women always wait for princes, yet overlook men like Valera. Intelligent, polite, and reliable. Suddenly, Sergei hears the sound of a trumpet from afar and follows it. He soon finds himself in a park where couples are dancing on a platform. On a nearby stage, a small ensemble is playing, led by none other than Andre. Seeing Sergei, Andre explains he had been at the police station, where people weren't behaving as they should. Abruptly changing the subject, he urges Sergei to dance with a woman. Sergei complies, bewildered by the surreal situation. Later, Sergei tries to convince Andre to leave and join him at the nightclub to charge his phone and call his wife, but Andre declares he no longer wants to return to his family. Sergei immediately talks him out of this notion, insisting they must go back. Andre, snapping out of his trance, finally agrees. The men return to the club and are startled to see Valera being shoved by a group of strangers. He complains to his colleagues that they are harassing his girlfriend, and he feels helpless. Sergei tries to reason with him, pointing out that she isn't really his girlfriend, so it's not worth getting involved. Unexpectedly, Andre sides with Valera. Sergei attempts to bring his friends to their senses, only for Andre to remark that Sergei has probably never truly loved. Andre suggests dealing with the offenders like men, and Sergei reluctantly follows his friends. Andre invites Alyssa to simply come with them, but when the locals try to push them away, Valera pins one of their hands to the table with a fork. A fight breaks out. Suddenly, a gunshot stops the chaos. To everyone's astonishment, Abroskin appears, flanked by 3 Caucasian men. He hands over the folder with the signed contract and advises them to head to the bus station, where a bus to Moscow departs in 3 hours. As for him, he intends to stay in this strange town, which he finds appealing because of its parades and festivals. Abroskin explains that after waking up, he left the car, only to have it hit by a speeding truck. While recovering from the shock, a car with the Caucasian men stopped nearby and invited him to join them. With that, Abroskin bids his colleagues farewell and leaves with the men. Andre takes the folder with the documents, but Sergei snatches it from him, keeping it for himself. The men step outside and Sergei suggests heading straight to the bus station. However, Alyssa invites them to her house, pointing out they still have plenty of time before the bus departs. Sergei insists they should stick to his plan, but the others ignore him, forcing him to follow along. On the way, they discuss faith. Alyssa shares her belief that when someone prays for salvation, they receive an opportunity to save themselves. Similarly, when someone prays for money, they are given a chance to earn it. Ultimately, it's up to the individual to take action. Soon they arrive at a small house. Alyssa warns them that her father is in a bad mood because someone recently tried to steal his motorcycle. However, despite his stern demeanor, he allows them inside. Alyssa introduces Valera as her boyfriend and leads everyone to the dining room where her father has set the table. Andre recalls the young thief he met earlier and asks Alyssa's father to forgive him. Alyssa explains that he already has. This town, though small, is very close-knit. Sergei criticizes the modest lifestyle, prompting Alyssa's father to rebuke modern youth for lacking roots. He mocks Valera's inability to solve their problems despite his technical skills. Valera admits he likes the town, and the father tells him that if he wants to stay with Alyssa, he must honor their traditions. The father leaves. Andrei calls his wife to reassure her, while Valera notices a guitar. He and Alyssa begin singing, and Sergei realizes they've connected. Outside, Sergei finds Alyssa's father fixing a motorcycle. The scene feels eerily familiar. Sergei asks about a taxi, but the father says he won't find one and should join the parade instead. He urges Sergei to rediscover his true self before losing his soul to meaningless pursuits. Andrei calls Sergei to the bus station. Alyssa's father advises Andrei to quit his job without blaming his family, warning that fear and resentment could harm his loved ones. As they leave, Sergei tries to stress the father's words, but Andrei doesn't listen. They reach a river, cross it in a boat, and Sergei reflects on his childhood in a similar town. Morning arrives. Alyssa's father wakes her and Valera, and they step outside. Sergei and Andrei reach the bus station, but only have money for one ticket. Sergei gave the rest to strangers. Sergei hands the folder to Andrei, saying he must return to his family. They part ways, and Sergei admits he once loved a neighborhood girl. Andrei boards the bus, eventually arriving in Moscow. In the office, he notices his colleagues' empty desks and feels uneasy. He submits the documents and resigns, but realizes his boss doesn't see him. Andrei wakes up in a hospital. His wife comforts him as he recounts the strange town. They had been in an accident, and Andrei was the only survivor. Sergei had fought until the end. Meanwhile, Sergei joins a parade. Alyssa's father greets him warmly, and Sergei walks with the crowd, seeing his childhood and the girl he loved ahead of him. The film leaves us with profound questions. Who are we? Where are we going? And why are our loved ones absent when we need them most? Must we face death to realize these truths?